Welcome, Matt Dunn. It's wonderful to have a quick and delish life conversation with you here. I like to have conversations with folks who are working on making a big impact both on the health of humans on planet Earth today, as well as the health of planet Earth. And so I'll have you introduce yourself in a moment, but Matt Dunn is the CEO of um, Winnow Labs, and he's developed a very exciting probiotic that he'll share more information about. And a part of this quick English life conversation is sharing some of how we take care of ourselves in terms of our self-care. And so I want to start with Matt sharing a little bit about yourself, but also how you and your family do the meal planning.
Yeah, fantastic. Great. Thank you for having me. First and foremost, I appreciate you taking the time to sponsor our product here on your podcast. Um, so in terms of my background is molecular biology, biochemistry. I've been at the intersection of biotechnology, human health, and sustainability for about the last decade and a half. And co-founders and I really just started reading about microplastics and couldn't look away, especially how prevalent they're becoming in the world and now the effects that they're starting to have on us and our health. And so that's our background and how we got started. But in terms of meal planning for us and my family, my wife does most of the meal planning for our family, really takes care of the children and her and me. And typically, I'm a vegetarian, and depending on my training cycle, whether I'm training for rock climbing during the summer and trying to lose weight to perform as well as I can versus more or less taking it easy during the winter, I'll typically replace a lot of my meals with veggie-based protein shakes during that training period, and then go back to a more wholesome diet during the winter months.
Nice. That's great to hear that you and your family get along. You're a vegetarian, and there's a tendency that everyone does eat differently.
Yeah.
And sometimes my clients will complain that so and so eats so differently from me and the other person. And I think it's really important for everyone to just accept that everyone eats differently. And that's not a bad thing. It just is what it is.
Yeah, I mean, that speaks so nicely to, each and every person is so unique, and like growing kids need, a lot of protein to develop properly. And so, yeah, animal proteins tend to be very favorable for that. Especially with my girls who 2 and 5 are very picky eaters. And so just getting them to eat something is meaningful in its own right.
Absolutely. So before we get to the product that I want you to share about, tell us a little bit about your background. Like, how did you become a molecular biologist and then developing this product?
Yeah, that goes all the way back to interest just growing up. My mom was a nurse practitioner, and so I always were pretty interested in the biology side of the world, just through her. During that time, like starting like when I was 5 years old, all the way through college, I really wanted to go into medicine. Um, and that was the trajectory I thought I would be on. But then I started doing research in laboratories at my university, and it was so fun that I decided rather than going into medicine, I wanted to go into research. And then I really landed in a fantastic laboratory where we focused on biotechnology and molecular biology, biochemistry, and really the intersection of how we can use biology to make and develop new products and things that are helpful for the world. And it was really quite exciting, and I couldn't look back thereafter.
Very cool. It's always good to hear like some people I experience career change. My first career was as a chef, and then later on I went back to school to become a registered dietitian nutritionist. And so I think it's helpful to think that there are many paths to in life in terms of career, and that there might be an opportunity to change your mind and go back to school, or not go back to school but change your mind and collaborate with other types of businesses. But I think it's helpful to hear about different paths. Awesome. So now tell us about this wonderful, cool probiotic. So part of why I'm super excited about sharing this probiotic is that what's top of mind for a lot of people is this notion that plastics are everywhere and in our environment as well as in our homes. And a lot of times when we purchase foods or anything, technology, it doesn't really matter. It's going to be wrapped up in some plastic likely. And there are some companies that are developing better packaging. But I think it was like what, 20 years ago, styrofoam was supposed to go away, but styrofoam's still here. So it's just kind of interesting. We just got to keep focus on what we can do. But the reason why I am having this conversation is what can we do is the most important thing to have as a default thought instead of letting ourselves be overwhelmed with the notion of plastics or the notion of something that's not in our control. And there's a lot there. But what we can do is reduce our purchasing of items with plastic, reducing our purchasing in general, but also use interesting technology like a probiotic that reduces our absorption of plastics as a human. So now Matt will share about this wonderful product he has, which is only
Yeah,
just recently launched, right?
yeah, we just recently launched. This is our first week of full sales and shipments, which is pretty exciting, and people are really starting to resonate with it. So I'm really excited to see where we're able to go from here. But yeah, our product is, it's really our mission as a company. It revolves around one mantra, which is good in, bad out. How do we maintain the ability for the nutritious food and water we drink to come into our bodies without the chemicals, the synthetic pesticides, and the environmental pollutants along with it? And that's that bad out part of it. And we see that as a really important mission that guides everything we do, from marketing to sales to product development. But and it's driven because the world is so beautiful with everything we've built as a society, but that's come at some cost, whether it's climate change or pollution, microplastics and the like. And unfortunately, the world is getting dirtier, day by day. 95% of tested Americans have measurable amounts of PFAS in their blood. Microplastics, which we're uniquely focused on right now, are found in every tissue, fluid, and organ tested to date. I mean, even 3/4 of American produce, when tested by the USDA, has measurable amounts of pesticides within it. And so, how do we provide tools to people to be able to protect themselves or defend themselves against a growingly more polluted world? And we took our first strides on that with this our first product, Winnow. And it's really at the heart, it's a fantastic probiotic. It gives all of those benefits that people are looking for: digestive support, gut health, and the like. But then it adds a new feature, which is microplastic defense. And it does so through a really simple mechanism, which we're really proud of, which is the bacteria simply stick to plastic, microplastics and nanoplastics, kind of like a biological glue, and then help escort them out of the body.
Very cool. So it's a standard probiotic with the benefits of absorption of microplastics. So that's um a different superpower to the probiotic. And everyone could benefit from taking a probiotic.
Yeah, and let me share a slide about that and pull up the share button. But yeah, it's really quite exciting because, our product, and I can show the label here in just a moment, it's once again just a great probiotic, as you said. It has microplastic defense as a unique property for it. All the ingredients are safe as, defined by the FDA. They're all GRAS ingredients with a long history of safe use. And then we've done a lot of data collection to show that the plastics are able, or the probiotics are able to bind to now 5 different types of plastic, those that are most prevalent in the body. And then it's extensively third-party tested. We partnered with a company called Light Labs. And what they do is they allow companies to show not only the data, the COAs behind every test they run, but also tell who did the testing, which is what I think very important. That level of transparency, I think, builds trust because even when I look at, the food and supplements I take, most of them say tested, but you can never see exactly what the test result was or what the data look like. And so tested for over 200 different types of pesticides, tested for heavy metals and over 8 different allergens. And so we're really excited because it's a super clean product. It has exactly what's in it, and it's a simple, safe tool for people to defend themselves against, a growing amount of microplastics in the world.
Very cool. Tell us about the packaging also.
Yeah, let me pull that up because this is something we're quite proud of because once again it resonates with that mantra of ours, which is good in, bad out. Um, and that had to come all the way through start to finish for us, including the packaging. I'll just bring it up on our website because that'll probably be the easiest place to look at it. Um, share my screen again. Um, But our packaging is completely plastic free from start to finish because once again, it would be too ironic to make plastic a part of a product meant to defend against it. And so our box fully cardboard, our we even to the tape is completely paper-based, water activated tape. We took a lot of time to get a glass bottle with a metal lid that had no plastic or rubber liner on it. And that was way more difficult than we thought because it's a custom product that we had to go back to the manufacturer because every lid they made, standard had a plastic or rubber liner on it. And then even the pouch that we made, we got from working with a company called Elevate based out of Chicago, completely 100% certified home compostable paper-based product that we are able to use and ship every month to a customer a new paper product full of pills, which also helps us cut down the weight and the material waste and the shipment costs for the customers because it's a very light, reusable, and compostable pouch. So really proud of that, but it did take us a long time to get it ready.
That's so awesome. So in terms of like, so you get one bottle that's reusable, and then you get the refill shipped every month that's in a compostable package.
Yeah, exactly right. And the customer, we made the packaging stand up and resealable because maybe some people don't want the bottle. Maybe they'd rather have a pouch just to themselves. But if you subscribe to the membership, you get a free starter kit if you're interested in it. And that bottle is 100% reusable for people. I use mine and I just pour the pills in every month.
Nice, nice, nice. I think what I'm really proud of is the integrity, the time, and the commitment that have put into you and your team have put into this product. Because sometimes I joke with my clients and on my online program that everyone and their mom has a supplement, or everyone and their mom has like a protein shake,
Mhm.
or everyone their mom and their child.
Yeah, exactly.
And just because they exist out there doesn't mean that they have been well researched and created. And, there's some comedians that have some sort of line. And so just because you have a name, there could be a line of some sort of product behind the person. And that's how marketing works. And we know marketing works. So how can we offer services and products that have integrity in humans that respect not only the human, but also are considering Earth at the same time
Oh yeah,
and
thank
Mother
you so
Nature.
much.
Because we live on Earth.
Yeah, that's right. Because, the plastic problem we face today is not necessarily because plastic exists as a product per se, because it has enabled us to do so many amazing things, like, for example, medical devices that are easily sterilized and single use, which are critical to saving people's lives. And so plastic has its place, but then there are those single-use plastics, like just from Halloween, for example, a couple weeks ago, my daughters have like a basket of tiny candies wrapped in single-use plastics, and we're just throwing those away. And so the more of that we can tamp down as a society, I think the cleaner our world can become. And that's a goal we should all strive for. So
Absolutely. I also appreciate your reasonable, like the way you think is reasonable. It's like there is going to be plastic. It's just a fact. And we can also challenge ourselves culturally to communicate to companies that provide products that are in plastic and ask them to look deeper into, improving their packaging as the consumer votes with their dollar every day.
yeah, that's right. And I think with time and the ability to volume price it so that it becomes cost effective, we may be able to strike that change over time, which would be quite exciting. For us, it did come at extra costs that we took out of our margin. So, but it was really important for us to make sure that the consumers had something that met this really important mission.
Absolutely. So, what are your, I'll share in the description of this interview more background about you, your website, as well as how customers can purchase this probiotic. And, all of the clients I work with are taking a probiotic. And I can dig deep into health and create protocols that are personalized without getting into too much detail there. So what is next for your dreams and wishes and your company, Matt? Like
Yeah.
what's down in the pipeline?
Oh man, the dreams. Well, in terms of dreams, like my vision is to create gut armor, more or less, for the modern world. I believe people deserve tools to defend themselves against a growingly polluted world, and that unfortunately is a number of chemicals from heavy metals to PFAS to pesticides, and not only plastics, but plastic associated chemicals, which is something, people tend to forget about when you think of plastic, because you typically look at plastic as this single thing, but in reality, it's a cocktail, a blend of, sometimes hundreds of different chemicals that allow it to have the properties that it has. And so that's our vision as a company, is moving towards this gut armor, a holistic tool for people to defend themselves against many different pollutants. In the short term, we're so hyper focused on getting this first product into people's lives and trying to see them enjoy it, appreciate it, and know about it. But then from here, once we're able to do that, my goal as a father is to get a kid's product in place, because chronic exposure starts, even before birth and in utero, and even maybe before that, if you think about the transgenerational effects of the eggs developing inside the fetus inside of the mother. And so getting protection for those most vulnerable is really important to me.
Very cool, very cool. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think it's really important to focus on what we can do and for health of humans in general and of course animals because we share the space on Earth with them too. Um, but like some people might feel, what would you say to somebody if they felt triggered by this conversation? There was some sort of friction and there was like an emotional trigger that they kind of felt after being reminded about plastics and such. What would you encourage them?
Yeah, I mean, it's such a great question, because I think the topic around plastics can become quite polarized, just like everything in the world can become quite polarized. And typically it's because, when you look at a problem of such magnitude as like climate change or environmental pollution, large scale, it's because people feel hopeless most of the time. And so they either take, one or two approaches, which is hypervigilance, like throwing away all the plastic products in your life, switching Tupperwares, um, making sure that you have expensive air and water filtration systems, even, scrutinizing heavily every single thing you buy and bring into your house. Like that's one opportunity, but it comes with such a emotional and time burden that it can be so draining. The other option is to say, well, that hey, there's nothing I can do about it, so it must be like it's not worth it or it's not real. And I agree, like this is quite challenging. The problem is the science, even though it's early, is showing really strong signals that plastics, and not just plastics, but once again, the chemicals used to make them and the kit that they carry and pick up from the environment are not good for us. And the fact that they're accumulating within our body, even at the levels we're seeing, is showing signs of, harm that is meaningful. And so it was really important for us to be able to provide consumers of first and foremost something exceptionally safe, that they would not be harmed by taking. And that's once again, consult with your physician. If you have something like SIBO, our product might not be right for you, but for most people, it's going to be a very safe and effective product for them. But then it had to give them that feature of, something they already wanted, which is a general gut probiotic, because at best, our product is going to protect you against a growing problem of microplastic exposure and the health effects of that. And at worst, you've spent your money on a fantastic probiotic. And so in our case, that's win-win. And I hope people will resonate with that and feel that as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I also think if what you focus on expands, so if you focus on the solutions-based approach, then you are in motion of taking action. And us humans really like being in motion of taking action. It's
Yeah,
when we're overwhelmed and we feel like we can't take any action. And so it's depending on what your life is like and your choice there. But what you focus on expands. So if you perceive the problems greater than the solutions, give yourself permission to see what one baby step you could take in the direction that help you focus on solutions. And that could be
yeah.
just in your own home, on your own, in your own space.
Yeah, and sometimes it can be something simple, just like not microwaving your food in plastic containers, or alternatively stopping to drink out of a plastic water bottle. Those are all also effective solutions to doing it. I mean, even for your audience, switching to a more high fiber diet is an effective solution to some extent, which is helpful in its own right.
Absolutely. I mean, in my meal planning program, I encourage folks to freeze in glass and or sometimes I'll use super cubes, which are silicone, but I primarily recommend glass. And so then usually the glass container might have a glass lid, which you could totally buy containers with ceramic or glass lids, which help with reducing plastics. But there's also like being reasonable. So like I don't drive, and so if I'm gonna take a container out, I'm gonna probably choose. Sometimes I'll carry around something glass. Some like if I'm going out to an event for the whole day, I'll bring a couple containers with me with food, likely. And so sometimes I bring glass. Sometimes there might be a plastic container, but less plastic for sure. And there's ways like there's paper bags that you could put like your trail mix in or your sandwich or whatever. And so then there's less waste. And
Yeah,
so it takes intention and then just taking a moment to check out what products are available out there.
yeah, and then appreciating that, our world's built on plastic and you can't be perfect. So, even a tool like ours, is going to allow you to hopefully have those opportunities where you just can't avoid it, because that's the unfortunate reality of our world sometimes.
We're not striving for perfect because
Yeah.
either we are perfect as we were born, right? Everyone's perfect on planet Earth right now, or there is no such thing as perfect. We're always doing our best every day.
Mm.
Any last words, Matt? This has been a wonderful conversation, both about health and what we can do, and coming from an empowered state. Um, any last words here?
Yeah, I think maybe just one thing additional, like our goal, once again, back to the vision is gut armor for the world. We're building a community of people around our product that want to, make that a reality. We've of course started with microplastics, but then moving to, the rest of environmental pollutants one by one at a time. And so we'd love for people to come in and join that endeavor with us and make that vision a reality.
Fabulous. So spread the message, everyone, and you'll get more information in the description link about purchasing. And if you're interested in going deep about your health, I can certainly order a test that looks like your gut microbiome. And like cheers to the goodness every day, everyone. And we'll have a follow-up interview with Matt next year in 2026 and see what's happened to keep in touch. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
Take care.